Hi guys, it's me again, Filippo Cecagno, personal trainer and training nutritionist. So, what are we looking at today? So, we're looking at hypertrophy. Okay, so first of all, what is hypertrophy? Hypertrophy is a term used for growth and increase of the size of the muscle cells. Okay, so how do we obtain hypertrophy? So, we obtain hypertrophy through an increase of exercising, so of load on the skeletal muscles, okay, and has to go. So the skeletal muscle mass, because of the workout, has to go through a process of adaptation and increasing the muscle mass to then work better next time on the same rate. Okay, so what is muscle hypertrophy? Muscle hypertrophy is an increase of muscle mass and cross-sectional area, both cardiac and skeletal muscle. So it can work on the heart as well on the normal muscle. Okay, so the heart, for example, has to go to an increase of size in order to squeeze more blood when you work out. Okay, so whenever you do your workout and you basically go very over your limit, your heart will work as well. So you don't need to do cardio to work on the heart. Also, weightlifting is good for your heart. All right. So obviously, if you have any blood pressure issue, you might want to speak with a professional to make sure that he can actually take part of weightlifting exercising. Okay. So what is a muscle? So that's important as well. A muscle is a band or a bundle of fibrous tissue, okay? So which is attached to a bone, all right? And it has the last part of the muscle is a tendon, all right? So there are three types of muscle fiber. There is a slow oxidative muscle, which is usually the one that we use when we do an aerobic exercise, so endurance, okay, stamina, marathon, all this stuff uses low oxidative fiber. So they go through an aerobic process, so they use the aerobic part of the glycolysis, which is the breakdown of the glucose. Then we got the fast oxidative aerobic fibers. These one are fibers which are similar, so they are between the fast glycolytic and the slow oxidative fibers. These fibers, they're still using the aerobic side of the glycolysis, okay, but they're a bit stronger than the slow oxidative fibers. So the slow oxidative fibers, they create low power contraction for longer. The fast oxidative fiber, they create a medium power. And then we got the fast glycolytic. The fast glycolytic, they just use the glycolysis, the anaerobic side, so the one where the oxygen is not present. So we don't use oxygen when we use the fast glycolytic fiber. These are mainly used for power exercise and very heavy weightlifting. All right. So these one are the most powerful, but they exhaust quicker than the low oxidative. All right. So first of all, I want to say a few things about hypertrophy. Hypertrophy is being associated with bodybuilding, so the term has been stigmatized a bit, okay, creating misconception on hypertrophy. So people tend to see hypertrophy as a big huge guy, okay? It's not like this. So hypertrophy is important for any of us, okay, and it's very important on the function of our body. So it's important for the correct functioning and movement of our body. So hypertrophy, for example, when you start to you go through your 50s, your body decrease the muscle mass exponentially. So it's very important if you are 50 over that you take part of a resistance training to create more muscle, okay, and prevent the muscle loss. Okay, so how the body work and how hypertrophy is created. So the body work via different cells and system in order to grow our muscles. Okay, so the first cells which I would like to discuss, okay, just one thing, it's gonna be quite detailed, okay, so it's gonna be quite interesting, but at the same time very demanding. So bear with me and listen to me very carefully, okay? So we have the satellite cells, which function is to facilitate the growth of the muscle. So when you do any workouts, you damage the muscle, so the satellite cell, they switch on, okay, so they wake up and they go on the where the damage is. So they go there and they start to proliferate it around the area which is damaged, okay, and the daughter cells, so the one that they just bore, they will go and will basically attach to the muscle, okay, and will fuse with the existing muscle cell to create a new fiber, okay. That's why when you do an hypertrophy exercise, so you break the muscle, your muscle will grow the next time, because you got the satellite cells which will create new cells and will grow bigger, okay. Another factor which is important in hypertrophy is the immunology, so the immune system. The immune system is important because it responds to any inflammation, so it gives the response to your body with the inflammation to go in the part which is damaged. So every time you damage something, you cut or anything, your immune system reacts and creates inflammation, okay. So when the part is inflamed, the body knows that it has to go there and repair the part, okay. So in the immune system, after the immune system, we got certain growth factors. Growth factors are very important. Growth factors are highly specific proteins like cytokines and hormones which are involved in the muscle hypertrophy, okay. So they stimulate the division and and the differentiation of the cells. So basically differentiation is basically the cell is born, and when it's born it doesn't have let's say any skills. So what happened with the cytokines and the growth factors and these hormones, the cell will then become whatever, a muscle cell, it will become a liver cell, a kidney cells, okay. So the hormones and the growth factors and the cytokines are important for making new muscles cells and to proliferate and the division of the cells, okay. So what are the growth factors which we are interested in hypertrophy? So there is the insulin-like growth factors. This one is the IGF. You might have heard it from bodybuilders. So it is used in the world of bodybuilding, but not that much, because IGF is quite dangerous because it doesn't it's not specific. So IGF, what does IGF first of all? So IGF is secreted by the muscle and it regulates the insulin metabolism and stimulate the protein synthesis. So basically, what do we need in order to create new muscle? We need a lot of protein synthesis. So because the muscle are made of protein and amino acids, so we need to create more protein. So what does the IGF? The IGF basically stimulate this action of the cells. However, it doesn't differentiate between the other cells. So what happened, why is it dangerous and in the bodybuilding world, is that this factor, it doesn't have a specific action. So it doesn't, it won't care if whatever is gonna make a cancer cell proliferate. It doesn't differentiate between a cancer cell, a muscle cell, a liver cell. So if you have too much of these IGF, insulin growth factors, the risk is that if you have a cancer which is developing, it will increase and grow exponentially, okay? So there are two IGF factors, there is IGF-1 and IGF-2. Both of them are for the proliferation of the cells in response to a progressive load, okay? Then we got the fibroblast growth factors, which is called, I mean, the acronym is FGF, is less well known, but if you have been around in the fitness industry, you know a bit about that. So FGF is stored in the muscle. There are 9 forms, which 5 of them lead to a muscle hypertrophy. So it's important in the release of the amount of the FGF is released proportionally to the degree of the trauma injury. So the higher is the trauma, the higher will be the amount of FGF which is released, and is also accounted for proliferation in the cell. Another factor is the hepatocyte growth factors. This one is the HGF. Okay, is commonly misconcepted for growth hormones, which is not. Is another is a type of cytokine which has the task to activate the satellite cells. So it will switch them on. Okay, so the satellite cells are usually dormant. So I'm laying there, they're sleeping. The AGF comes and boom, they will wake up, okay, and they will also migrate to the injured area. Okay, now we come to the important part, one of the most important. What other factors are related to hypertrophy? So, which are the chemicals which are very important for hypertrophy? We're talking about hormones, okay? So, hormones are secreted by certain organs, which can be kidneys, pituitary gland, pancreas, and whatever, okay? Depending on which hormones we are talking about, and they have many functions in our body. So, hormones are usually affected by our nutritional status, so our diet is very important, and our lifestyle, so stress and so on, okay? Sleep and stuff like that. So which one are the hormones involved in hypertrophy? So we got the growth hormones, okay, so which is very high when you are 15, 14, 16 years old, okay, while you go through your puberty, okay, with the testosterone. It's a peptide hormone, and that stimulate the insulin-like growth factor. So the growth hormone will stimulate the IGF, which we talked about earlier, okay? So why is important? It's promoting the satellite cell activation. So again, is a promoter of the satellite cell activation. This is why it's widely used in the bodybuilding world. Okay, so it basically helps the body to have a better protein synthesis and create more muscles. Okay, another hormones which is very important, but unfortunately is a catabolic hormone, is the cortisol. Okay, so it's a steroid hormone. So why is a steroid hormone? Which one is the difference? The steroid hormone is a nucleon that can pass through cell membrane without the need of receptors. So we usually need receptors on our cell to understand which type of hormone is coming and decide if it can come in. Okay, if we welcome the hormone or not. So this one bypass this passage. Okay. So is usually produced in the kidneys, in the adrenal cortex, and is a stress hormone related. Okay, so it's related with stress. So if you're stressed, if you're working too hard, or also by exercising too much, cortisol can be released by your body, and it stimulates the gluconeogenesis. The gluconeogenesis is the formation of glucose. So when we need energy, we actually break down glucose. So what happens when you release cortisol? We stop this reaction, we stop creating energy because we want to preserve energy, okay? So we preserve and store glucose for the future, okay? So what happened, it also goes to break down every tissue in your body, so we are talking about muscle, anything, organs, to create the glucose that we need, okay? So this is very important. It inhibits the uptake of glucose, so your body will stop using glucose and create energy because you want to preserve it, and inhibiting the protein, and it will inhibit the protein breakdown. So it will start to signal in the body that needs to break down the proteins. And the protein, where do we store most of the protein? I mean, everywhere, but muscles, proteins are the first to get attached by this signal. Okay, so we're gonna break down the protein to break them down in amino acid, and then from the amino acid we will create the glucose that we need. Okay, so we're gonna basically break down. So when we want to achieve hypertrophy, we want to basically decrease our protein breakdown and increase our protein synthesis. Another hormone which is probably the most important, and you had heard about it everywhere, and it's pretty famous, it's stigmatized as well, is testosterone. Is the male hormone. Okay, so testosterone is a sex hormone, which is an androgen male sex hormone. Okay, so it promotes the growth and development of male organs. Okay, and the characteristic of the male. So if a woman has to take testosterone, and she will start to grow a beard, the part down there might change a bit. Okay, more close to my part. Okay, and it will affect this nervous system. So the testosterone affects the nervous system. Now we're talking about each individual, woman or male, it doesn't matter. So testosterone have an effect on the nervous system. That's why there is like a roids rage when bodybuilders take testosterone. They become aggressive, because it can increase aggressivity in a person, because also, I mean, it's the male sex hormone. It will work on the nervous system, the skeletal muscle mass, bone marrow, skin, everywhere basically. It has an impact on every part of the body. It has an anabolic effect, so it will build muscle rather than break them down. So cortisol is catabolic, it will break down, and testosterone is anabolic, it will build. Okay, and it will promote the gender differentiation. Okay, so this one was let's say the most important factors in hypertrophy. So as we can see, hypertrophy is multifactorial and multidimensional process. So we need to create the right ambient in your body to create muscle. Okay, so if we produce too much cortisol, we will break down muscle, and we won't have any hypertrophy. Okay, so what are the factors which are important? So we got hormones, diet, and lifestyles, and obviously workout load. So what is wrong with, I think, most of you and the people in general, they only focus in one of these factors. If you have one of these factors, you will likely not have any results. Okay, so you need to make sure that all these 4 factors, and there are more, are actually balanced out to promote then hypertrophy. So if your diet is terrible, okay, if you eat like crazy and wrong, you will mess up all your hormones, and at the same time you will mess up your body, and you won't create the right atmosphere and ambient for your body to then create muscle. Okay, same time, if you are eating too little as well, you won't have enough nutrients, the hormones will be affected, and you won't create any muscle, and you probably will break down. So it's important that we take a look at the bigger picture of our body, and we don't just focus on one factor to then have the outcome that we want. Okay, so if you need help with the diet, the type of exercising is very important. Not every exercise is good for hypertrophy. Okay, not every exercise will give you the outcome and create enough muscles. And if you need help with lifestyles, okay, so just please text me, all right, by Instagram, and I will help. I have tons of programs, okay, different price, which are all affordable. okay, and we make sure to work together to get the outcome that you want and create the maximum hypertrophy for your body, right? So anyway, this one was all. I hope it's very interesting for you, and it will help you to better understand your body, okay? And I hope to see you next time.